Hi guys, it's Matthew here. Welcome on back into another video today. In today's video, guys, it is another tier list ranking, as a matter of fact. So I've actually have realized I have not done a tier list where I have ranked every Disney feature animated film, as a matter of fact. So I thought it might be a good idea to do this, as a matter of fact. But so yeah, guys. Let me know down in the comment section what is your favorite Disney feature animated film and which one is your least favorite. And if you guys are new to the channel, I do more than just movies and physical media related content. I also do Lego related stuff and I play video games. So if you guys like to watch anything like that on YouTube, be sure to go check out my channel, because if you like any of that stuff, there will definitely be something for you. There will definitely be something in there for you to enjoy, as a matter of fact. And click like on this video, share this video with your friends, and hit that red subscribe button. And most importantly, press that notification bell so you don't miss anything in the future. And those of you guys that are not new to the channel, if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you go subscribe right after this video, guys. But then, anything we do, guys, enjoy the video. Let's get started, as a matter of fact. Okay, so the tiers I have today are best to the best, great, good, okay, meh, bad, don't remember, and haven't seen, because there's a couple of Disney movies that I have seen, but I don't really remember them, and there's a couple that I have not seen at all, as a matter of fact. So there will definitely be a couple that will be going on that bottom tier. All right, so I think these are all in chronological order. So if we're going in chronological order, obviously the very first Disney feature animated film that we have gotten was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So now with this movie, I feel like this movie gets a lot of criticism from some Disney fans, and a lot of people don't like, say, they don't like Snow White because her voice is really high pitched. But personally, I never thought her voice was that high pitched at all. I mean, I don't dislike her voice, but I'm not a fan of the song that she sings at the very beginning of the movie. But other than that, I still think this is a pretty great movie, and for 1937, I actually thought this movie was pretty damn good, as a matter of fact. So I think for this one, I am gonna have to stick it on the great tier here, because I do think it's a great movie, but it's not quite God tier for me. Next up, we have Pinocchio, as a matter of fact. And to be honest, I have never been real huge about Pinocchio. I know there is a couple of Pinocchio fans out there that prefer the original movie, but for me personally, I actually prefer the live action Pinocchio, because I feel like what I really liked about the live-action Pinocchio is I felt like it took everything that I thought was weird about the animated one and then made it better. And that's just me, because I have watched this movie several times in my life, but it's never been one of my absolute favorite Disney movies, and it's forgettable in some ways. So I'm sorry, Pinocchio, you are going on the meh tier. Next up on our list, we have Fantasia. So now with Fantasia, I actually only seen this movie one time. And there's some parts that I thought were fun, and there's some parts that I was kind of bored with. But with this movie in particular, I like the artistry of this movie. I thought the artistry in this movie was pretty great, as a matter of fact, but I'm not a fan of like the whole concept of it. So this is another one that's not like one of my favorites, but I don't hate this movie, and I don't think it's like a great movie by any means, but it's definitely mid for me. So I am gonna have to stick Fantasia on the okay tier. Next up on our list, we have Dumbo. So, I've only seen the original Dumbo one time. And I actually think that this movie is pretty cute in some ways. And with this movie in particular, I think I'm gonna have to stick it on the good tier. Cause I do think it's a good movie, but it's definitely not one of my favorites. Next up on our list, we have Bambi. So now, um, so now all the Golden Age movies I think are good to some extent, but it's just Pinocchio I'm not really a huge fan of, but Bambi is another one that I really enjoyed, and this is another one I only saw one time. I like it more than Dumbo, but I can't go any higher than that. But this is one that I do remember liking, and one that I thought was pretty great as a matter of fact. But yeah, I do like the story that this movie gives, and I know it's a little sad because Bambi's mom dies, but in particular, I think that this is not a bad movie by any means. Oh boy, now we get into the Pacagera films. And I say oh boy because I only seen two of the Pacagera films, and those were the first two Pacagera films, which was Saludos Amigos and The Three Caballeros. But with them but with these two movies, I try to get through these. I even gave them like another watch, and I think I even gave them a third watch, and I just couldn't get into these movies. So I'm gonna put them both on the bad tier because I just don't particularly care for them that much. Just because Saludos Amigos and the Three Caballeros has Donald Duck in it, and I'm a huge Donald Duck fan, I'm gonna put it above Saludos Amigos. And then the other Pacagera films I have not seen, so I am gonna put them on the haven't seen tier. Next up on our list, we have The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. So I'm trying to remember if I've seen this movie all the way through. I'm not so sure if I have. So I'm gonna have to stick this one on the don't remember tier because I do not remember much about it. Next up on our list, we have Cinderella. So I think, yeah, Cinderella is going up in best to the best. This is the first entry for me in best to the best. So now with Cinderella, Cinderella has always been one of my favorite Disney movies, and I even love the live action Cinderella just as much as the original one. And because of that, I watched Cinderella all the time when I was a kid, and this is definitely one of my favorite Disney movies of all time, and it's definitely, I think, one of the greatest Disney movies of all time. And so yeah, yes, I have to put it in best to the best because of that. Next up on our list, we have Alice in Wonderland. So now with this one, I actually really like this movie. And I'm gonna put it I'm gonna put it on the good tier. 'Cause I like it more than Bambi and Dumbo. But so yeah, it's gonna go right there. So now I love sci-fi and fantasy movies, and this is what Alice in Wonderland is. It's a fantasy movie, and it's pretty good for what it is, in my opinion. And I actually think it has a lot of funny parts, and it has a lot of potentials as well. And I really do like this movie. I really do think it's a pretty good movie, in my opinion. Next up on our list, we have Peter Pan. So now I like this one more than Alice in Wonderland, and I'm gonna put this one on the great tier. And with Peter Pan, this movie, in my opinion, is a pretty good adventure flick, a pretty good action adventure flick that's family friendly. And we even get some pirates in here, and we actually don't get too many movies about pirates, and I wonder why that is, because I feel like pirates are a good topic to talk about when it comes to movies, and a story that would work for a movie as well. And so yeah, I have to put Peter Pan on the great tier, because Peter Pan is one of those Disney movies that I have thoroughly enjoyed. Ooh, now we come to Lady and the Tramp. So now, with this one, I think, yeah, this is definitely best of the best for me. So now with Lady and the Tramp, this has actually always been one of my favorite dog flicks, as a matter of fact. And yeah, I am a huge fan of this movie, and it's definitely one of my favorite Disney movies. And this is another example where I like the live action one just as much as the original one as well. And with Lady and the Tramp in particular, yes, this has always been one of my favorite dog flicks. As a matter of fact, I love dogs, and I even have a dog of my own, as a matter of fact, and I do think that this movie is pretty good. Sleeping Beauty is up next. So now with this one, this one's a tricky one, because in my opinion, this is one of the most underrated Disney movies. And I say that because I feel like this is one of the Disney movies that's talked about the least. Like, I do like Maleficent as a villain, and I do think Aurora, I don't think she's like one of the top best princesses, but she's definitely one of the better ones compared to some other ones that we have gotten. But yeah, I really do like this movie, and I think it's significantly underrated, and I feel like this is one that more people need to watch and more people need to talk about. And yes, I do think that this movie is pretty underrated, in my opinion. So it is an underrated gem, in my opinion, and I am gonna stick this one on the good tier, as a matter of fact, because I do think it's a good movie and I enjoy this movie, but I don't understand why people don't really talk about it as much. Next up, we have 101 Dalmatians. So, like I said, I love dogs. And I love these stories that Disney tells about their animals, especially dogs and cats. And I don't nearly like this one as much as Lady and the Tramp, but I do think that this is another good film in my opinion. So I am definitely going to have to put this one on the good tier as well. So I don't like it more than Sleeping Beauty, but I do like it more than Alice in Wonderland. Next up, we have The Sword and the Stone. So now, this is another underrated gem, in my opinion, because I like the whole concept of this movie. The king dies, and then there's this boy that everybody picks on and calls him Wart, but his name is Arthur. But then he meets up with this wizard, Marilyn, and there are parts of this movie that I am really intrigued and I think are flat out awesome. And the wizard duel I think is the cherry on top for this movie, and I really do like this movie that much. And I like the medieval times and the Knights of the Round Table era when it comes to movies. Like, I like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, but I don't care for Game of Thrones that much. But with this movie in particular, I do think it's a great movie, and it is pretty underrated, in my opinion. So it's gonna go on the great tier. I'm trying to debate if I want to put it above Snow White. I guess because it has a more solid story, I think I'm going to put it above Snow White. Next up on our list, we have The Jungle Book. So now, this is another great movie, in my opinion. It's not one of my favorites, but it's definitely a pretty good movie, in my opinion. I'm going to put it at the top of great, actually. So now, with The Jungle Book, on the other hand, I love the fun and fancy freeness of this movie. This is another one that I watched all the time when I was a kid, but this is one that I don't love nearly as much as Cinderella. But this is definitely a great fun movie, in my opinion. Like, I think this movie has one of the best soundtracks in all of Disney. Like I feel like with this movie, I feel like the two standout songs are Bare Necessities. I know that's a lot of people's favorite song from this movie, but I think my favorite song from this movie is I Wanna Be Like You. But yeah, again, I love the music in this movie, and this is a pretty fun movie in my opinion, and it's definitely pretty great. Next up, we have The Aristocats. So now this is another underrated gem, in my opinion, because I feel like not a lot of people talk about this movie as much. And I actually think that this movie is pretty cute. This movie is pretty fun and entertaining as well. But with this movie, I do think this is up there on the great tier. And I'm definitely gonna put this one. Yeah, I gotta put it above Snow White again. This is another fun flick, in my opinion, and it's another underrated gem for me. But I like the story of these three movies more than the Aristocats. So yeah. I do like the soundtrack in the Aristocats as well. Next up on our list, we have Robin Hood. So now, this is definitely one of my favorite movies from this era of Disney. And this movie is pretty good, and I like Robin Hood as like our main. I do like Robin Hood as animal that's created by Disney in this movie, and then but I think another big standout is Prince John. And with Prince John, I do think he is like one of the better villains, in my personal opinion. But yeah, I do think Prince John is an underrated villain, and this is another underrated gem in my opinion. So yeah, I do think that this movie is pretty great, but it's definitely it's definitely up there. So yeah, I can. It's definitely better than the Aristocats. I'm not so sure if I could quite put it above Peter Pan, but I am definitely gonna put it above Sword in the Stone. And actually, I kind of prefer Peter Pan over the Jungle Book at this point, so Peter Pan ends up going at the top of great. Next up, we have the mini Avengers adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I have not seen this movie, and I have not seen The Rescuers either. Next up is Fox and the Hound. And Fox and the Hound is another one I don't really remember that well. So yeah, there's a couple of these Disney movies I need to rewatch. And then The Black Cauldron is one that I have not seen either. Great Mouse Detective is another one I haven't seen either. And Oliver and Company, this is another one that I don't really remember that much either. Next up, we have The Little Mermaid. So now, I think Ariel is like Sleeping Beauty, is like Aurora. She's one of the better princesses, in my opinion, and she's definitely better than a couple of the Disney princesses that we have gotten, at least in my personal opinion. And with The Little Mermaid, I'm not so sure where I want to put this one. It definitely has potential. Has a lot of potential actually, but I think with this one, I can't quite put it above Sword in the Stone, but I like it more than the Aristocats. The Rescuers Down Under, I have not seen the first Rescuers, so with this one I'm going to have to stick in the have not seen category. Oh, now we get into some big, heavy hitters. So, first up we have Beauty and the Beast. So now if you guys have followed me for any determined amount of time, you guys know that I love Beauty and the Beast, and this is my favorite Disney movie of all time. So now I love the live action movie just as much as the original. And even though Gaston is a womanizer, I still think he's one of the best Disney villains in my opinion. But yeah, this movie is visually stunning. And this is another movie that I think has a fantastic soundtrack for what it gives. And this movie in particular is pretty great. And I think it has some of the best characters in Disney history, in my opinion. Next up on our list, we have Aladdin. Now, Aladdin is probably my second favorite Disney movie, and I am going to have to put this one on in Best of the Best as well. And it goes right behind Beauty and the Beast. So now, there's definitely a lot of Aladdin fans out there. And And with this movie, this is another one that I think has a fantastic soundtrack. And I think two of the best side characters are Genie and Abu. And with this movie, I think Jasmine is one of the best Disney princesses. Same thing with Belle and Cinderella. That's why those two movies are up there right next to each other. And yeah, I enjoy all three of these movies, and these three movies have the best Disney princesses of all time. Next up on our list, we have The Lion King. So now, this is a tricky one for me because I know there's a lot of people out there that love The Lion King. And personally, with this movie, I I am not like one of the massive fans of The Lion King, but this movie is a pretty highly rated movie for me. And this is another one that has another great soundtrack. But with this movie, I do think it is pretty good. But with this movie in particular, I think I'm gonna have to put it on the great tier because I think it's a good movie, and I do think it's a great movie. But I know this is severely controversial, but I actually prefer Snow White over this movie. But this is definitely not one of my favorites, but it is a pretty great movie in my opinion. Next up, we have Pocahontas. So now, Pocahontas, this is another one I've only seen one time. And it's never been like one of my absolute favorite Disney movies, but yeah, remember when I said not Sleeping Beauty, Aurora and Ariel are two of the better Disney princesses? I actually think they are better than Pocahontas in particular. So with this movie, I think I'm gonna have to stick this one on the okay tier. I'm definitely putting it above Fantasia though. Oh boy, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I okay. I don't know how many people like this movie, but with this movie, I have never liked this movie. I have 100% never liked this movie like at all. I am definitely going to put this one on the bad tier. I do prefer these two movies over it, but yeah, I do not care for The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I actually think that this movie is pretty stupid in my opinion. And it's I don't think that this movie has like any charm to it at all whatsoever. And I think this one loses the Disney magic that it has. But yeah, this movie, yeah, I'm sorry guys. This movie is just not for me at all. Next up is Hercules. So, this is another one that I don't particularly care for, but I don't hate this movie as much as The Hunchback of Notre Dame. So, yeah, I can't quite put it on the bad tier, but I do think that this movie is pretty forgettable, so I am gonna have to stick it on the meh tier. I did put it below Pinocchio just because Pinocchio is more iconic than Hercules, and and it's been around longer, so most people would probably recognize it more. Next up is Mulan. So now this is another one that I don't particularly care for, and with this one, I'm trying to I'm not so sure if I like it more than those two Pacagera films, or if I like it less than that, but I do like it more than The Hunchback of Notre Dame. So I am definitely going to put it right there. I know there's a lot of Mulan fans out there, but with this movie in particular, it's not really for me at all. And I do think Mulan is one of the worst Disney princesses in my mind, and yeah, just this movie in particular, I do not care for the concept at all. Ooh, next up on our list we have Tarzan. So now I love animals, and there's definitely a lot of animal lovers out there. Um but with this one, I definitely think that this movie is pretty good, and it's gonna go. Whoops, did not mean to go that high. It's definitely gonna go above some of these other ones, but yeah, I like it better. I like it more than Bambi at the very least, but but I'm not so sure if I can quite put it above Alice in Wonderland. But yeah, I really do like Tarzan, and I really do like the whole concept and the whole aspect to this movie and the adventure vibe that it gives. But yeah, I really do like Tarzan a lot. Fantasia 2000. I've actually have not seen this movie, so I am definitely gonna put it on the haven't seen tier. Next up, we have Dinosaur. So now with Dinosaur, I don't really watch this movie as much when I was a kid. So I think I'm gonna have to put this one on the meh tier. So I like it more than Hercules, but again, Pinocchio's more iconic. So I can't quite put it above Pinocchio, but yeah, with this movie, yeah, I do think it's forgettable because I don't think it's as iconic as some other Disney movies that we have gotten. But yeah, this movie is definitely not for me at all. So now, The Emperor's New Groove. I think I'm going to have to put this one on the don't remember tier. I used to say that this movie was a bad movie for the longest time, but with this movie, I think I need to rewatch it because I think I'm being too hard on it for no good reason. So that's one that I definitely need to rewatch to get my thoughts across a little bit better. So now, next up we have Atlantis. Okay. I don't like this movie at all. I mean, I've tried to watch this movie several times, but yeah, I just cannot get into this movie at all whatsoever. This movie has never been a movie that I particularly come to around to liking that much. And so yeah, it's definitely one of the worst Disney movies for me in particular. Next up on our list we have Lilo and Stitch. much. So now, with this one, I'm not so sure if I could quite put it on best to the best, but it's almost up there for me. But I think as of right now, I think I can put it above Peter Pan and put it at the top of the great tier, because this is definitely one of them. This is definitely one of the better Disney movies, and I feel like out of the hand-drawn animated movies, this is probably like one of the best ones from like the modern era. And this is definitely a pretty good movie in my opinion. And like I said, it's a sci-fi movie, and you guys know that I'm into sci-fi slash fantasy movies, and this is definitely one of my this is definitely one of the better sci-fi Disney movies that Disney has made. And I do think my sister loves Stitch, and I like Stitch as well, as a matter of fact. Next up on our list, we have Treasure Planet. Treasure Planet is another one that I have not seen, and Brother Bear is also another one that I have not seen either. Next up, we have Home on the Range. Okay, so now I know a lot of people hate this movie, but this is another one that I watched all the time when I was a kid, kind of like Dinosaur. So yeah. I'm not gonna put it on the bad tier, but it's definitely forgettable, and this is another one that loses a lot of charm. So yeah, it's definitely a meh tier movie. Next up on our list, we have Chicken Little. So now I feel like Chicken Little has so often been the black sheep of Disney, because I feel like with this movie in particular, this is definitely one of the weaker Disney movies, but in my personal opinion, this movie, in my opinion, has never been like a flat out bad Disney movie by any means, but it's definitely pretty good in my, well, I wouldn't say that it's like pretty good, but I get enjoyment out of this movie, and I do think that this movie is pretty fun to a certain extent. So with that said, I think I'm gonna have to put it at the back of the good tier, because I actually like this movie enough to actually think it's pretty good in my opinion. Now, Meet the Robinsons. This movie, I don't think this is a bad movie, but it's definitely one of the better Disney movies, and this is a sci-fi movie, so that's another reason on why this movie is pretty good. And I do think that this movie is another great flick in my opinion. So I am definitely gonna have to put this one on the great tier. And yeah, I like the whole story of this movie, and I like the whole concept of this movie as well. So yeah, it's definitely going up there. But where should I put it is the question. I think I'm gonna have to put it right there, because I do think it's a good movie. Next up on our list, we have Bolt. I like this one better than Meet the Robinsons. So this is another one that's going pretty high up there. And with this one, yeah, I can't quite put it above Sword in the Stone, but I could definitely put it above Meet the Robinsons. And like I said, guys, I am a dog lover, and this movie is specifically about a dog. And with this movie, it has a little bit of sci-fi elements to it because of the show that Bolt is in. And this is like an action adventure movie in my opinion. So that's another potential on why I like this movie so much. And yeah, I do like the side characters that this has, like the hamster, Rhino, I think is his name. And then Mittens, I do think she is one of the great cat characters created by Disney, as a matter of fact. And yeah, I really do like the whole feel that this movie gives. Next up on our list, we have The Princess and the Frog. I like this movie, and Tiana is definitely another one of the better princesses in my opinion. So yeah, I like this one more than Sword in the Stone, and I like this one more than Peter Pan. Hmm. Do I like this one more than Lilo and Stitch? Yeah, I think this one goes at the top of the great tier for me because I really do like Tiana. She is a top 5 Disney princess for me, just FYI. And this is another underrated flick in my opinion. And I do like the villain in this movie. Dr. Facilier, I think is his name. And he is definitely one of the darkest villains ever. And I really do like him as a villain, and I really do think he is very intimidating for his character portrayal. Next up we have Tangled. So now Rapunzel is definitely another top tier princess for me. So this one in particular is definitely I'm not so sure if I can put it above Lilo and Stitch, but yeah, actually, yeah, I prefer it more than Lilo and Stitch. But yeah, these two movies, Tangled and The Princess and the Frog, they go back and forth a lot of the times for me, but yeah, definitely Rapunzel and Tiana are two of the top 5 Disney princesses, and then you guys should probably know Cinderella, Jasmine, and Belle are the top 3 in my opinion, as a matter of fact. And definitely those are some of the better Disney movies that we have gotten. Next up is another Winnie the Pooh movie that's on the borderlines with the mini Avengers and Winnie the Pooh, and this is another one that I have not seen. So I'm going to put it on the haven't seen tier. Next up on our list, we have Wreck-It Ralph. I like this movie, but it's definitely not one of my favorites. So I am definitely gonna put this one on the good tier as well. And it's definitely going above Sleeping Beauty. And I really do like the gaming culture that this movie has, and I really do like, and a lot of the main protagonists in this movie are pretty good, and I really do want to see this movie. I definitely, if somebody wanted to watch this movie in my house and I said I wouldn't mind watching this movie at all, and I really do think it is probably it's another better Disney movie in my opinion, and this one definitely has potential to move up into the great tier. Ooh, next up on our list, we have Frozen. So now this one, like I said, when I was in high school, I was actually the MC for Frozen, and I had a blast. But then before that, in the exact same year, I was also the MC for Junie B. Jones as well, and it was a Christmas play as well, and I had a great time during my senior year, as a matter of fact. And yes, this is another one that I have a huge attachment to. So this one is definitely going up in best to the best. So I'm not so sure if I can put it above Lady and the Tramp. I'm trying to think of where I want to put this movie. I think I'll put it right there actually, just because I have a little bit more of attachment to these three movies, and this movie in particular I think is pretty good. Next up on our list we have Big Hero 6. So now, this is a superhero movie, as a matter of fact, and you guys all know that I'm super into superheroes, and this is definitely one of them, and this is definitely a pretty great movie in my opinion, and I really do like Baymax a lot as a character. So now with this one, I think I'm going to stick Big Hero 6 right there in particular. I love Big Hero 6, and I love the whole aspect of this movie and what this movie really delivers. I do think it's a pretty good movie in my opinion. Next up on our list we have Zootopia. Now, this is another one that's definitely up there for me. And I am definitely gonna put this one. Do I want to put this? I'm not so sure where I want to put this one. Yeah, I think I'm gonna place it right there because I love Zootopia, and I am excited that we're getting a sequel because I think it's outrageous that we've waited this long to get a sequel to Zootopia because I love this movie, and and I love this wonderful world of animals that we got introduced to. And the reason why I think it's outlandish, it's outrageous that we waited this long for a Zootopia sequel is because I think that there's definitely more to this world that we can explore. And to be honest, I am excited to see where they take Zootopia to, as a matter of fact. Next up on is Moana. I love Moana, and this one definitely has a great soundtrack, in my opinion. This one is definitely going pretty high up there as well. I can put it above Lady and the Tramp, but I'm not so sure if I could put it above Frozen quite though. But yeah, I'm excited to see the sequel that we're getting this year, and we're also getting a live action Moana. And The Rock is also set to come back to play Maui, and And The Rock is also going to be playing Maui in the live-action Moana. And I'm super excited to see the live-action Moana. And to be honest, I'm very curious to see how the live-action Moana is going to turn out, because as of right now, when we get Moana, that is when we get the live-action Moana, that is going to be the very first modern Disney movie that they have turned into a live-action remake, as a matter of fact. Moving right along, we have Ralph Breaks the Internet. So now, a lot of people actually say that this movie is not as good as the first one. And I don't like this one better than the first one, but I definitely think it's just as good as the first one. And I keep waiting for an announcement for them to do. Sorry guys, there was a car that flew by. I definitely think that this movie deserves a third movie, because I definitely think there's another story that they can come up with. Like, an example that I heard of was Mr. Lipwhack going out of business. As a matter of fact, that could definitely be a possibility for a third Wreck-It Ralph. But yes, I really do want to see a third installment to this movie, and I definitely think that this movie is pretty good in my opinion, and yeah, this is definitely one of the better Disney sequels in my opinion. And yeah, I really do like the whole concept that they go to the internet. And yeah, so with this movie, I am definitely going to be putting this one in, not on the great tier, but it's definitely going right next to the first one, right there on the great tier. Oh boy. Next up we have Frozen 2. So yes, and if you guys did see my tier list, where I did a tier list of every movie that has reached the $1 billion club, both Frozen movies have. And we're getting a Frozen 3 and we're getting a Frozen 4. And I'm not so sure if either one of them are needed, but I definitely hope at least one of those is better than Frozen 2. Why are we getting those two movies? Because they're going to make $1 billion, because the first two have made $1 billion. And I wasn't real huge about the second Frozen like I was with the first one, and I've only seen this movie like twice, I think. I might have even seen this movie 3 times. But with this movie, yeah, this movie is pretty forgettable in my opinion. So yeah, it's definitely going, just because I have more of an attachment to Frozen, I think I'm going to put it at the top of the meh tier. Next up we have Raya and the Last Dragon. I have not seen this one, so so that is going to go on the I have not seen tier. Next up we have Encanto. And an amazing movie, as a matter of fact. Another great soundtrack, as a matter of fact. And the character development in this movie is pretty good. And yeah, the most definite thing about this movie is the character arc. The storyline in this movie is pretty well done. Yeah, the animation in this movie is stunning, and it's definitely going pretty high up there. I can't quite put it above Moana, just because I have a bigger attachment to these two movies, but it's definitely up there for me though. Next up we have Strange World. So now, this movie has gotten a lot of criticism, and I don't know why this movie has gotten a lot of controversial opinion. And this is definitely a best of the best movie for me because I love the sci-fi feel that this movie has. I like the whole sci-fi adventure. I love the whole sci-fi aspect to this movie. Um, the voice acting in this movie is pretty good. Jake Gyllenhaal's in this movie. And Dennis Quaid is even a little bit in this movie, even though I don't care for him. He does have a phenomenal he does do a pretty good job as the grandfather in this movie. And yeah, you guys all know me. I love sci-fi adventure movies, and with this movie, this is definitely going pretty high up there in my opinion. So yeah. I think I'm going to put this one above Lady and the Tramp. But with this one, I am definitely going to put it right up there because, like I said, I love sci-fi movies. I can't put it above Encanto, but I can definitely stick it right there at the very least. Last but not least, Wish. So now I've heard some people liked this movie and some people didn't. But for me, I didn't think that this movie was too terribly bad. But it's not going in best of the best or anything like that. But like I said, I love sci-fi and fantasy movies, and this movie in particular is definitely another better Disney movie than is definitely one of the better Disney movies that we have gotten. So this one is definitely going pretty high up there as well. It's going on the good tier. But I think I'm going to stick it right there as a matter of fact. Phew. Okay, guys, that is my full-on tier list of every Disney movie that we have gotten so far. I am really excited to see Moana 2 and what they cook up with, and I hope it's just as good as the first Moana. And I will try to get around to watching these ones I don't remember and these ones that I have not seen eventually. And so yeah, guys, I am very happy with this tier list as a matter of fact. And yes, most definitely after I watch all these, I'll probably redo this tier list as well. But so yeah, guys, that pretty much does it for this video. Comment down below your favorite Disney movie and your least favorite Disney movie as a matter of fact. But with that said though, guys, be sure those of you guys that are new to the channel, I do more than just movies and physical media related content. I also do video games and I do Lego related stuff. So if you guys like to watch anything like that on YouTube, be sure you go check out my channel, because if you like to watch any of that kind of stuff on YouTube, there will definitely be something in there for you and to enjoy. And click like on this video, share this video with your friends, hit that red subscribe button, but most importantly, press the notification bell so you don't miss anything in the future. And those of you guys that are not new to the channel, and if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you go subscribe right after this video, guys. Without any further ado, guys, that is going to do it for this video. I'm going to go get ready back to more videos, because more videos are on the way sooner rather than later, as a matter of fact, guys. But with that said, though, guys, take care, drink water, and stay safe, and I will see you all in the very next video. Bye!